What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. On the left side here, we have Melodious going up against Labrnyth on the right side here. Melodious being one of the decks that have been picking up a little bit of steam. We saw the first Melody has picked up a lot, and Lab actually being a really cool deck that you can play with the trap variants or playing with those hand traps and stuff like that, with the furniture cards or heavy traps. We're going to be seeing the Labyrinth player going first here, starting off with a copy of the Yugiohtcg. And that's going to be met with a copy of Storby Torby here. And they do have the Herald of the Orange Light for the Storby Torby, discarding itself, and a copy of the Couple to negate that. We're still going to be seeing the effect of the Yugiohtcg being able to summon itself out. And we're going to set 2 cards and pass. We are going to be able to also activate a copy of the Big Welcome here, summon up the copy of Lovely, and then bouncing. And then we're going to be able to activate the effect of the Yugiohtcg to summon itself back here. Lady will be also able to pop from the hand. Pretty nice being able to activate that before we pass turn here. We're going to rip a card, hitting another Herald. And of course, we're going to be seeing Lovely going to be able to reset that copy of Big. Yeah, that's huge for the Labyrinth player here. We're going to see them reset a copy of Big Welcome. And then now we just pass turn on this, leaving them on 3 cards here, and we still have the Lady bounce back with the Big. They're going to activate Prosperity on this, letting us dig for the deck. There's no need to pop those cards in the hand, especially when we know that they're going to be only on 3 cards, and you want to have the maximization of those options here. We see a Ash, Veiler, Imperm, and then a copy of the Refrain here. Going to be a pretty nice normal summon, which is going to be activated, and it's going to hit with an Imperm here. Now they're down to 2 cards in the hand, so they have to have another combo piece. They already got rid of essentially one of their copies, and this is where you see Labyrinth going to be in very high control with the deck, which is the kind of the point of the deck. It is a control type deck. A lot of players who used to play Skystriker has now adapted to this, and the deck is still at very full power. Can also add those Unchained cards or the rollbacks as well. I do know that he's not playing rollback in this build, which may be off-throwing to some people, but definitely, going to be an option. We're going to be seeing the Refrain going to be activated here in the Pendulum Scale, and we could be met with a copy of Lovely, which can destroy it here right away. Definitely don't want to get that search effect here. They're going to summon up the copy of Ariana, and they're going to be able to bounce back the copy of the Storby Torby here. And then we're going to activate the effect of the Ariana as well as the Lovely to pop that copy of the couplet there, so that they can't have any access. And we see them scoop on that, not going to have another extender. They don't have any way to pendulum summon. They would have to have either the copy of, I believe it's called the Cannon, or the green one, whatever that one's name is. I do forget right away. Somebody in the last comment was like, learn the card names so that you don't confuse players. My bad, I don't know every single card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'll take the card out right now just for you guys though. It is called, wherever it's at in my deck, the Sonata, the level 3 there. The green-haired one. But yeah, Lab is definitely a very powerful. I know that, I believe it's Dahlia was saying saying that she's playing Lab was it was going around the whole Yu-Gi-Oh community about how you can smoke screen with Lab. You can play with the Lab cards and kind of cutting down your Lab engine to make them only 15 cards, or I guess 14 cards, and then you can actually put in your side deck just the whole Tempai engine, and then you can just smoke screen those in there. So, you get beat by Lab first, and then going second, they're like, oh, I'm going to go second, and then you just smoke them with all the Tempai cards, because the Tempai engine is only 14 cards, and then they added, a copy of Terraforming or a Lightning Storm. I think it was Lightning Storm in the deck profile, but still kind of funny, or the deck picture, but still kind of funny. I guess shoutouts to you, Dahlia. But yeah, Lab is definitely a really cool. I don't think it's probably the correct way to play it. Your side deck is really important, especially when you're going to be playing in a bunch of matchups. A lot of times Floodgates are going to be hit, and if people are playing these Floodgates, we can see some Floodgates that are playing for Lab right now, Gray with the Super Ancient Organism, I guess they're not played for Lab, they're played for like Temp Eye and then Snake Eye and stuff like that, and branded as well. But it definitely hits a Lab deck, and then you want to have outs in your deck for those types of floodgates here. But we're going to be seeing the copy of Couple going to be activated, going back into the game here. That's what we're here for. Activate its effects to search, because it does say if you control no face-up monsters other than Melodious. Therefore, it checks on resolution if there is any non-Melodious monsters on the field. You don't need to actually have any Melodious monsters on the field for it to activate the effect. Searching for the copy of the Searcher, and I think this is actually the moment where you should Ash it. For people who want to know how to beat the deck. Definitely going to be a great time to Ash the card. You want to go stop that search for the fusion, and the fusion also gets you another draw. And it's like, yeah, of course, ashing a copy of Refrain or Ostinato is good, but, it's really just stopping those resursions. It's going to be constantly happening here. And so we see them use the copy of the Couple as well as the copy of Sonata, the card we were mentioning earlier here, going for a copy of the Bacha, and then that's going to also let us get a effect 1 and 2 to place itself back in the scale, and then summon from the deck here. Yeah, talk about a crazy card. Bacha's absolutely insane. This card has multiple effects. The fusion cards cannot be negated. And then you also have the effect of it summons from the deck when it's summoned. And then when it hits the graveyard, you can also summon one back out from the graveyard. Talk about busted. All that in one common card. We are eating good. And so here we can go for a copy of the Refrain, most likely, because we do need extenders to kind of play through this. The Sonatas or the Chapina is not going to be really good in this case. But we're going to be searching for most likely a copy of the Couple here, or we can go for the copy of Soprano, because we have not normal summoned yet. So if we don't have another copy of that in the hand or a level 4 access, we're most likely going to go for the Soprano, because we really do need access to that fusion, as well as the name there. The name is huge. So we do search for the copy of Soprano. You always... I think you should play 2 of this card, personally, myself. But we're going to be normal summoning it out. And it does give you access to the fusions. There's only a couple ways you can fusion with the deck, using the Soprano and then, of course, the Concerto. Concerto is a once per turn. Therefore, it's kind of hard to get into it. But we're going to be seeing the effect going to be activated there, using all 3 bodies. And then we can actually activate the effect, going into the Étoile there, I should say, which does take a Maestra and then 2 Melodious cards. We're going to be using the effect of Concerto as well as the Refrain, and then, of course, also the effect of the Bacha to summon back out the Soprano. And then Soprano can activate its effects to also add back from the graveyard here. Which, fun fact, has to be Chainlink 1. By the way, if anybody doesn't know that, kind of cool. And then, of course, the Étoile also lets us play through Nibiru here, being able to bounce consistently. And so we have kind of a couple options. We can actually fuse with the Soprano if we want to. It also looks like we have the Chapina in the hand as well. So we can pendulum some of that out later in the turn if we really want to. I think we have a Droplets as well. That's a little bit of a weird one to have, but we could go into the Link, or we could go into another copy of I guess the first copy of the DD Crow target, the Shiberta there. So we're going to be summoning out the copy of the Sonata here, and then we are going to be linking away for that copy of Bloom. Then we can activate the effect of Bloom, discarding the copy of the Chapina here. So choosing not to even pendulum summon it at all. We're going to go for the LG as well as a copy of the Aria, most likely. And we kind of lost access now to Pendulum Summon. I feel like we should have just discarded a different card. But maybe that's what we realize now that we should have done. So we could Pendulum Summon it out, add back, but we can't be destroyed by card effects, can't be targeted by battle, and can't be destroyed. But we're going to be seeing the Pankrotop's going to activate its effects. And then they're going to declare an attack on the Étoile. They're going to be chaining the copy of Forbidden Droplets here. Or they're just going to try to pop. the back row. Okay. I see how it is. But we do get hit with an evenly matched. That's that's pretty rough. But we are going to be using the effect there to bounce. And then we don't actually have to return the card to the hand, so we're just going to let the evenly resolve. And we're going to keep the copy of Coupe there, just banishing that copy of Refrain. We're going to then activate a copy of the Chandelier, discarding the copy of D-Barrier. A pretty nice card in this matchup. Something like a copy of the Big Welcome. And let me know in the comments what you guys think of like Labyrinth's resource management. Like, you know, they have to discard another card with including themselves, but they also get the card back. So like, how good is that, do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be a fair design later on in the game, or do you think it's still too strong? But we're going to see them set another card as well as activate the field spell and then pass. And of course, Etoile is going to be sending back out all the monsters here. That was banished. It's interesting to me that they also kept the Bloom there, and they have the Big Welcome, and they hit it with Ash Blossom, and we see an instant scoop there. Like, this card is crazy. Ash, you know, some people are saying, like, oh, why would you always play Ash as your first, your first copy of non-engine? To be honest, I think Ash is probably one of the strongest cards that have been printed in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And not for the fact that of its sheer power, but the fact of its sheer, like, versatility that can be used in the game. Like, every single deck just has these high impact Ash points that, like, it just hurts your combo significantly. And, like, Ash is obviously good, and there's sometimes times where you're like, oh, this card's not a very high impact. But the ability that it has as the player to be able to sometimes just turn end, like even we saw with Branded Fusion, you Ash that, it's like, oh, well, the deck's dead. It's not necessarily exactly dead, but 9 times out of 10, it's extremely impactful for it. As well as we saw, like, versus a Lab, you know, being able to hit that Big Welcome. And then it's, like, absolutely just devastating for them. The only card that they can have, and, like, you can top deck your Ash or have double Ash in hand, and it's, like, still always going to be useful for you. Now, it's not going to be the best when we're in a super heavy hand trap format like we were previously, with the Snake Eye engine and stuff like that, because the deck doesn't get hit, obviously, very impactfully by Ash. It also puts a fire in the graveyard for those copies of Princess, as well as the Hita lines and stuff like that. But we saw at the start of it where people were like, oh yeah, Ash is going to be stopped being played or being played in the side deck, because you don't want to give the fires for those copies of Hita to go into that copy of Princess right away. But we saw how it was still very important to be able to hit the cards, and then we saw, like, if you hit it with Oak and stuff like that, but obviously there was times where, you know, they had those Omni Negates where that obviously got significantly worse, and then you're just putting a fire in the graveyard. But, like, in the right hands, an Ash is absolutely insane. Like, even hitting OSS, you know, the original Snake Eyes, was very good at the time. Hitting a Bonfire was always, like, kind of 50-50. Not always the best option. You'd probably save it for something else, but in a simplified game state, it was really good as well. But, like, there's so many options where this card just absolutely just crazy. And when you think about it, like, Imperm should be just as good, but it's just not, which is kind of funny. But we're going to be seeing an Ariana being normal summon, getting hit with a copy of the Veiler in the game 3 here, and we have Prosperity to top it off, and we're going to be digging here. We dig for a copy of Solemn Judgment, and then a Skill Drain as well here. And I think there's a Kuklok and then a Chandelier, as well as an Impermanent Traptrix. And we're going to add that copy of Skill Drain. You know, the skill has now going to be drained. You know, Melodious will have a hard time end up beating this. And we set 2 cards here and pass, just like that. And we know one of them is going to be a copy of the Skill Drain. But do we have something to hit this with? I also see an Ash in their hand. We see a first movement solo here. One of the cards that has creeped up in price. This card's now $30. You know, absolutely crazy. If you would have picked this up 2 weeks ago, this card would have been like $2 max if you can get your hands on it. You know, digging through your bulk. At the time, we saw that that Trident Dragon was like one of the most looked cards. Like, oh yeah, look through your bulk for this stuff. But no one's really talking about first movement solo. Like, this card's absolutely crazy. No one should be spending $30 on a super. Like, the deck's not that good. Like, it is obviously a very good deck. It's very fun to play. I love it myself, but I would not be spending $30 on a super rare. We're going to be seeing Refrain activate its effects here, being summoned out that first movement, and we're going to see it get hit with that copy of Skill Drain there, and then, you know, Battle Phase attack into the Ariana, crashing those cards, and then we just set one and pass. Yeah, the skill really has been drained. we're going to be seeing them activate a effect of a Labyrinth card. I believe it is the copy of the Chandelier, sending a copy of Big Welcome, sending the Ash here. You know, kind of just flexing. I don't even need this card. And we do have the Lady in the hand as well to summon herself out. She can't attack in defense. She can't attack this turn. She can't even activate her effects while skill drain is on the field. The next turn, we're going to be able to put her in attack position and start, you know, dipping for a little bit of damage there. Because this is going to be a very simplified game state where big monsters go boom. But we see a pass turn on this here, and we then go activate the effect of Big Welcome, and we see another copy of Ash here. And then we're going to be passing turn on that. And then we Big Welcome, bounce back. Then we're going to go Chandelier, discard the set and the copy of the Big. And what fun interactive gameplay we're having here. Lady's going to be summoned back onto the field here. And I believe we just passed turn once again on this. Surely eventually we'll run out of Ash Blossoms, right? That's how it works. We're going to see a pass turn, Big Welcome once again. And it's finally going to resolve here. We're going to summon a copy of Lovely, bounce back that Lady. And now we have two bodies on the field that can start dealing some little damage. And then we can actually see the effects of the graveyard cards to come back out. We're going to be summoning Lovely as well. And then we put the Chandelier back in the hand, and we're going to be activating the Chandelier once again, discarding the copy of the Starby, setting a copy of Big Welcome, and now we have all the cards in rotation, and we are going to be big chilling. I think they just pass turn on this again. We're going to see Big Welcome activate its effects. And then we're going to be activating the effect of the Chandelier as well as the Starby. And we're just going to get the resource game kind of going here. We're going to activate the effect of Chandelier, once again sending the copy of Starby to then be able to place the field spell. And then we're going to activate the field spell as well. We're going to activate the copy of Welcome here. And we're going to be actually popping the back row, if I do believe. Summon that Lady and pop in the back row with that spell. And then there's a copy of Forbidden Droplets. Not going to be very useful under that copy of the skill drain. We see the Lady and the Lovely both attack there. And then we do have the Evenly Matched here. But we have the Judgment. Oh my gosh. Oh, set from turn 1 here. That's crazy. Can't even using the Evenly Matched because we had that set copy of Forbidden Droplets there. So Lovely popping it, I guess in the field spell popping it there was really kind of their saving grace. But having that Judgment there to protect them is absolutely crazy. Setting another card and then passing turn on this. And I don't think that the Melodious player has it here. You know, they're in a very tough spot. Being able to play through skill drain is not something that the deck can do. But we are going to be seeing them look here. And I really think the Labyrinth player just has the game. I see a Forbidden Droplets in the hand and a Sonata as well as a Soprano. And they just admit defeat here with a Concerto as well. And that's just going to be too rough for them. You know, not being able to play on that skill drain and then having that copy of the Solemn Judgment to protect their life points there. Or I guess protect their board and then to be able to take the game. Regardless, hope you enjoyed watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to see more content like this. Hope to stay safe. Peace.